The bounty hunters? You're back, Divine Leader Thread notes calmly. She's in her office currently when Harika Spindle declared her job finished and had come to give her report. As the highest divine leader in the sector, everything ultimately fell on her, and she was acting as the example to follow to the new governess of Mordonon as well. She sees the look on Harika's face and waves an antenna towards a data slate that still has the official report from the woman on it. For someone reporting everything as going very, very well, you look oddly upset. I am a single woman who just had to walk out the largest concentration of unattached men I've ever been in my life. Each and every one of them the kind of man that, in my professional opinion, start off at extremely attractive and only get better from there. When the first man I meet there only has 2 wives and is not only goes down the list of how to be an amazing parent, but adding to it afterwards. Well, at that point, it's very, very hard to remain professional. Doesn't hurt that they literally smell sexy. I'm told it's powerful enough that some races can bond to them just by smelling them. Thread notes, not mentioning that she can still psychosomatically taste that man in the pheromones. Turns out Earthani were somewhat on that list of highly sensitive if human sweat got on the proboscis. She had already gone through a restorative rest and the physical urge was gone, but she could easily recall it. Considering that it was after your spar with their captain that I got the biggest dose of that, I would say it has little to do with my opinion on them. The recovery of young Slithern is nothing short of a minor miracle. The recovery of the other wounded child on that ship is so complete, I would swear she was never harmed to begin with. Other wounded child. They apparently ran into an organ farm some time ago. They adopted one of the poor souls trapped inside endless regenerative comas. They've given her the name Jade, and the young Canador is now playful, happy, and there is a friendly contest between her primary parents on who she favors more. Harika answers. So all in all, evaluating them has been a waste of Imperial resources and time. While an all clear is nice to get, it often shows that our attention is directed the wrong way. Thread states and Harika nods, which means that a certain lady is going to have a rather bad day soon. Was the report actually anonymous? Harika asks. Yes, but that doesn't mean we're actually fooled. Unfortunately, all we can do is reprimand her for wasting our time. This was a concern being raised, so all I can do is raise a concern about the judgment and observational abilities of the woman in question, Thread says, and Harika shakes her head in mild wonder. Is it wrong to say that I'm relived not to be part of the noble class? This could still be an honest mistake. Then in that case, she jumped to using too potent a tool too quickly. She should have looked into his adoptions records at the time and read the body language of the child's image. I did. The boy looked almost suicidal then. Compare that to the young man's current behavior and disposition, and it's like night and day, Thread says, and Harika nods. I had noticed that as well, but I was sent, so I had to go through everything as required. I do my duty as it is asked of me at the minimum, Harika states. You did finish early, however. Is there something wrong with that ship? I've told you what's wrong with that ship. Bachelors, handsome, capable men with the kind of personalities and awareness that it's a pick between one dream come true or another. Even their voices. Some musical, some rumbling, and some playful. I've seen less attractive pornography. What did I just walk into? Ambassador Silken demands. Our social worker was expressing her annoyance at how she was forced to act in an extremely professional manner in a place that was extremely tempting. Thread replies as Ambassador Silken walks up and gives Harika a strange look. I see. Well, hopefully things are cleared away as the more official and open ceremony where Mordonon is declared a legitimate homeworld for the Orhanas is in the planning stages, and they have requested that the undaunted bounty hunters be there for it. Apparently, the great Halmara made quite an impression on them. Halmara? It translates directly into death by burning. It's also used to describe wounds caused due to their intense sensitivity to yellow star sunlight or burn marks. In their folklore, however, they believe that those who have died of burning return to the underground, unable to feel the cool dampness of the water or earth, and will share their pain in trying to find relief. They mistook one of the chainbreakers as a Halmara spirit, and the fact he allowed himself to be cut in order to show he was still alive, and he refused point blank to cause true harm to them, despite demonstrating he was enormously capable of it, left quite the impression on them, Ambassador Silken states. Which one was that? A Mr. Shalbalal. Oh yes, I spoke with him. He's a very friendly sort, generous too, Herika confirms. They've nicknamed him the Hat out of his habit of making hats out of exotic materials for every stop. It's how he makes souvenirs. Really? Yes, when I spoke with him, he was making a hat at the time and was planning to use the leftover materials to make another as a gift. Herika explains. I see, tell me, did you encounter the one they were calling Air Farce? He's been zipping around in several different makes of shuttle and making numerous extremely high-risk maneuvers with regularity. Thread asks, and Herika stifles a laugh. The prank was funnier in retrospect. Yes, he's well nicknamed. He's a prankster and has passed it to his adoptive daughter. So from what I'm reading, you've confirmed that the Chainbreaker is an acceptable home and family for the young Nagasha boy. I have. We'd have to incorporate the young man into the royal family for him to be under better care. And even then it would not be a certain improvement. Herika says, and Ambassador Silken considers. I understand. Now we need to organize several simultaneous ceremonies. The awarding of a crystal star is nowhere near as significant as first contact, nor a homeworld declaration or the incorporation of an entire population into Holy Leblanc. But it must be done, to say nothing of the other lesser awards being handed out, especially after the nobles clamoring to have their voices heard understood that the primary recipient would be a teenage boy. Ambassador Silken remarks, and Herika nods. May I suggest it not be too ostentatious? It wasn't directly said, but from the way the young man carried himself, I'm not certain he's entirely comfortable with so much praise being heaped upon him. Well, unfortunately for that, the Leblanc Empire rewards those that serve it, Thread states before smiling. Although it is rather interesting for the issue to be some opposition to rewards rather than punishment. So what brought this on? Tang asks as Slithern reveals dozens of cloaked drones in the firing range. So I'm getting a small plaque's worth of awards, ribbons, and medals, Slithern says as banger blasts and ablator beams score shot after shot to his direction. At this close range, he doesn't need the jacket to boost his signal. And I didn't do anything. I know, I hunted it down. Big fucking whoop. It was a logic puzzle that a teenager did. I got my life saved a dozen times. Sally and Air Farce saved me more than anything, and Dad outright killed it when it grabbed me a second time. But you're all not getting anything. Pretty sure you slurred that a little, but I understand. Not now, Tang. Fine. Does it help you to know that beyond the occasional joke, you're the only person bothered by this? Tang asks, and Slithern pauses. But that just makes it worse. You're being so patient and I suppose getting pissed that someone else isn't is stupid, but it's still wrong. We know what we're worth, little buddy. We don't need the approval of a foreign empire for it. Besides, you haven't even seen the most recent update. The situation is still evolving, and evolving fast, Tang says as he holds up his communicator with a file ready to transfer. Slithern pulls his out and they tap the devices together, and in a moment the young Nagasha is looking over things. All right, so there are lesser awards, but look at how they're describing you. Look at what they're saying you are. A young survivor of horrific attacks, this young man has made a downright miraculous recovery due to the efforts and compassion of his adoptive family and the rest of the Chainbreaker crew. Less than a year's worth of training and recovery has seen him rise up to serve the Empire in a manner so far above and beyond. Our only recourse is to welcome him among our most noble citizens as a beloved brother among the stars. Slithern reads out. Wait, it's giving us credit for making you so awesome. So that means that they may as well be slapping that star on all of our chests. But we're proud of you, kid. Other people are allowed to be proud as well, Tang says in the firing pattern on the drone's ends. It just feels weird. I haven't finished my training, and what I did was I just followed a trail. Just thought. There are harder video game puzzles, but you were the one who cared enough to solve it. You made it happen, to say nothing of the fact you were there for a first contact scenario, for the uncovering of a deep case of corruption and more. It just feels weird, though. Some people have different standards, and you seriously impressed the Empire of Leblanc. But remember, we earned the respect of a criminal station even as we were hunting on it. We all but Albrecht itself can be considered almost one of the prizes we won. Huh. Yeah, I suppose that winning over an entire world makes this seem kind of small potatoes, Slytherin says. But it's still not right that it's all landing on me. Well, you can think of it as us all earning this together, but only enough for it to go to one person, and we've decided you've got to be the face man. Ha! So suck it. It's your face that Lablin will go gaga for. What? No! Slytherin says with the back of his hand to his forehead in an overdramatic display. When he goes from leaning back to upright properly again, he's smiling. That does make it a little easier. We're all getting this, but it's me as a face man. Yeah, so don't just do it, part. Don't, Tang says in a teasing tone as he fakes running into a delicate topic. I'll make sure they catch my good side, Slytherin says as he leans away and makes sure all Tang can see is the scar. Attaboy, let him know just how pretty you are, Tang says, and the drones suddenly move back to make a formation behind Slytherin so he can give Tang the finger guns as he makes his cybernetic eye spin in a surreal image. Tang snorts hard at the image and chuckles at the sight. See? You're fine, and this is all fine. Yeah, I am. Yeah, we all need to vent, and a lot comes out after you uncork the first bit of annoyance at the firing range, Tang says. We need like a therapy bot in here, some kind of algorithm or something like that Baymax character in here. Just have it descend and start doing the how does that make you feel routine, Slytherin says. Really? Maybe have it jump out of the side or something? Tang jokes. This is a firing range. That's a good way to lose it, Slytherin says. True enough. But a big marshmallow-looking bot is damn tempting to shoot at when you have a gun in your hand. Coming from a man who has to be held away from any and all balloons because he can't stop popping them? If they didn't want to be used as targets, then they shouldn't look like targets. Tang defends himself. How hard do you have to resist shooting my drones? The burden was painful at first, but I have long learned to bear it with dignity and grace. I have an armored drone and need to practice my dodging. Yes, please God, yes, Tang exclaims, and Slytherin laughs out loud.